Welcome, my darlings, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Review from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we conclude Disney Month with a discussion of the last of our Disney remakes. In this case, it's not really a remake more than a villain origin story, as they are wont to do. And oddly, was originally going to be our first one when we decided to do Maleficent, and then off of Disney Plus it went. So tonight we are discussing Cruella, which was released last year as part of Disney's tandem, released in the theater and released it on Disney Plus and charged people $30.
Right.
Yeah. So needless to say, Mike and I didn't do that. We both watched it this week.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I really like this movie.
Yeah. It surprised me at how good it is.
Yeah. I mean, it is by no means perfect. I would probably give it, I'd probably like slot it as maybe a solid B minus. Mainly, I feel it's overlong. 2 hours and 17 minutes was a long time to tell this story.
Yeah. They could have cut about maybe 15, 20 minutes off,
right?
I think, easily.
And just kind of jumping to the conclusion of the movie itself, it did leave, it's like, okay, so where are they going with this? You don't mean to tell me that, and spoilers, folks, I know this is a newer movie, so spoilers, we're just going to be talking about them. That Cruella is the one to send both Roger and Anita their puppies.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, this movie falters the most when it tries to shoehorn elements of 101 Dalmatians into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Cruella or Estella,
yeah,
and Anita together, that was fine. I was fine with that because I thought Anita actually brought something more to the movie, and it'd been established that they were childhood friends.
Right.
Roger had no business being in this movie at all.
Right. I mean, I like that his path did cross with hers, and if they just left it at him being her legal advisor and then getting fired, it would give him more reason if we're sticking to this timeline. And I think that's the important thing here. It's almost like there's a multiverse in the 101 Dalmatians realm, because she gives him an act of kindness after the Baroness fires him.
Right. And he repays her by creating a song about how much he hates her.
Right, exactly, which doesn't make any sense.
I mean, she just sent me a puppy. Great. Yeah. I fucking hate her.
One day, Dr. John's going to do a really terrible cover of this song.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, Roger could have been completely left out of the movie, right, and would not have detracted at all.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, though, I love the actor.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the actor. I mean, if he had just been her lawyer,
yeah,
the Baroness is a lawyer, I would have been fine. He did not need to be Roger.
Right. But I mean, Kayvon Novak is, I mean, you don't watch What We Do in the Shadows. He's wonderful in What We Do in the Shadows. So it was nice to see him. He still had the beard and everything, and it was kind of cool. But you're right about the trying to shoehorn a lot of that in there. And I felt like there was a point where we weren't going to get a redemptive story arc at the end. I feel like Jasper, Horace and Jasper are noticing the change in their friend, and they don't like it.
Yeah,
and had this movie decided to go full tilt with it, then they would have just been in servitude to her for something.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I liked them, because in the animated one, they are very much one-note characters.
They're idiots. Yeah.
Yeah. In this one, Horace is kind of a one-note character, but he's a really likable one-note character.
Yeah.
Jasper actually had dimensions to him. I really, really liked his relationship with Estella.
Joel Fry is a very good actor, and I feel like I first saw him in Game of Thrones, and he was okay in Game of Thrones. And in the last year, I've seen him in this and in Taika Waititi's show, Our Flag Means Death. And he's very good in that. So I
And
yeah.
but I think we have to kind of bring around to the two big names in its own, the two Emmas.
I was sold completely by both. I mean, by both of them.
Yeah,
You know, and this is the second movie in this run of movies that we're reviewing that we're talking about Emma Thompson.
true.
Um, and I love the fact that they gave her like meaty scenery to chew on.
Yeah,
She's so much fun, and it's nice because we don't get to see her play bad all that often, if at all.
she was like really really reaching in and bringing out her best Devil Wears Prada.
Right, exactly. And on
And
the flip side of
oh
that,
wow,
I like that Estella Cruella wasn't the younger version of that.
yeah,
Um, the sense of revenge is the big piece there, and totally understandable.
yeah,
I did find it interesting that there really is no story behind the hair other than she was born like that,
yeah,
which fine.
yeah.
This isn't Ghostbusters 2016. You don't need to explain everything.
Right.
I I liked. So here's something I really liked about this movie. I love that they kind of shifted the time frame. I was expecting this whole movie to be kind of set in the mod 60s. I knew it was a period piece, and from the get-go, it felt like a period piece.
Hmm.
But shifting it over one decade into the late 70s.
Mid 70s, I think,
It
74.
was mid to late 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean anything from 76. If you're playing a Sex Pistols song, then you're dealing with 76 and onward.
we see
By the way,
how amazing the soundtrack for this movie was.
this soundtrack was everything to me. I really loved this soundtrack. And the
Yeah,
beauty was I felt they went with deep tracks. They didn't just go with kind of surface level 60s, British pop,
I mean
70s British pop.
they had some surface level stuff, and that's the stuff that I appreciated.
Yeah.
But I also like the fact that they did some deep tracks that I knew you would love.
Yeah. Oh man, it was a really good soundtrack. They
Yeah.
got the aesthetic. Just in general, this movie deservedly won the Oscar for costumes.
Oh yeah.
The costuming is incredible. People like Artie. The
Artie was
David
so
Bowie
great.
look of Artie was fantastic. It was fun too because I feel like the inclusion of Artie is like he's there. He's a character.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're all thinking it. We all know, but it's like, hey, he's cool. He's part of the team. He's part of
Yeah.
the squad.
Oh
And yeah, but here's the thing. This movie might have the best performances out of everything this side of Christopher Robin. Honestly, I gotta say, I'm really happy that we're wrapping with these two movies that they're both new to us.
yeah.
And that they both really impressed us. This one might have actually impressed me more than Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a story that needed to be told, and I think they knew that.
Yeah.
So when they decided that they were going to tell it, they're like, okay, well let's do something a little different. Let's flip this on its head. I was getting wicked Hunger Games vibes when I first saw the trailer. When she comes in,
Oh yeah.
it's her first time as Cruella, and she lights her dress on fire, and I'm like, okay, that's the Hunger Games right there. I don't want to see this. I'm not spending $30 on Disney Plus. You know what? And here's the thing, full disclosure, I still probably wouldn't have paid $30 for this.
Yeah.
This took a while for the positive word of mouth to hit me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was just, who of my friends really likes this movie? My gay friends seem to love it, which is fine, but it's like, oh yeah, but I really enjoyed this. It's tough to put my finger on exactly what I like. Again, the length, this movie could have easily been trimmed down to an hour 45. Most of these live action movies that exceed Christopher Robin was the perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
You don't need to go over 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I I really had like fairly low expectations for this one because it's
Oh,
the villain origin movie. It's
yep.
about British fashion in like the 60s and 70s. I'm like, there's really not much here for me. I know
Yep.
where it's going, whatever. But I mean, for me, the real strength of this one is easily the characters. Every single
Yeah.
character, except for Roger, as I said, and I gotta say Mark Strong. I like Mark Strong. I always like Mark Strong. I like to see him and everything. Yeah, if
Yep.
it's a movie set in England, you got to have Mark Strong in there to get it.
Right.
But his character motivation was always just kind of like, why is he doing this? Okay, whatever, I'll let
I
it
think
go.
the whole thing that we're supposed to just kind of come to the understanding is that he knows he's working for a very bad person, and
Yeah,
he is not a bad person. I mean, essentially, he is turning into Alfred towards the
yeah.
end. Um, I'm just, I think my biggest curiosity with this movie is, do you make a sequel? Do you follow this up? Do you make a second one where something even worse like happens to Cruella and she does become the raging heroin addict that we all know and love from the animated movie?
Well, I mean, if you believe Wikipedia, they are planning a sequel.
And that's great, great. I loved if they've got the same creative team on there. I think that would be great. I would really like it is because I feel like the voices that they chose to tell this story did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
Um, and it felt very unlike like the other Disney stuff of this genre. It really did.
yeah.
It had a hip sensibility to it without trying too hard. We all remember those Walt Disney live action movies from the mid to late '90s with their fresh street attitude and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, pulling one over on Chevy Chase and or Sinbad. I lose track. I don't even know, but
I don't think anyone cares.
or putting Pauly Shore into your Goofy sequel.
Get some
In the '90s.
GDG.
God.
Um, yeah, I think one of the beauties of this movie was that we did go in with low expectation because it's a villain origins movie.
Right.
Nobody
And,
really cares all that much.
and that's
And
the thing. I feel like here's the thing that I liked about this versus what I know about Maleficent. I've never seen it from start to finish. I've seen clips, I've seen reviews. Um, Maleficent tries to redeem the character. This movie doesn't try to redeem her. I feel in a way it kind of allows us to see it from her point of view. Um, but we also know that she's got a vicious streak a mile wide, and it was caused by childhood trauma. Even before that, even before the
oh yeah,
Baron's
when
mother.
she was in school, all those black marks.
Yeah, exactly. She does follow the rules, and that is really cool that you're staying consistent with this character. Um, she does, and yeah, she does questionable things. She doesn't kill the dogs, which I was. It's like, oh, here we go. Here is the bridge too far. It's like there's still 45 minutes left in this movie. They're not going there yet. Yet they might go there at the end. Um, but
By the way, speaking of the end, another thing that occurred to me, like about why that post credit sequence was like absolutely nonsensical. It's like for one, Cruella sends the puppies to them. How does that make sense in given 101 Dalmatians? But also, they kind of established the fact that both the puppies are the child of one of those three. So that means Pongo and Perdita are brother and sister.
yeah, there's a lot of inbreeding in the animal kingdom. You watch The Lion King, you know this. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's but I do like that while she gets her happy ending and that she gets she gets her revenge. She gets, what she wants. I still feel like there is a really good chance that in a follow-up, it's not going to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We know what this character's about. We know at some point she's going to do something absolutely dreadful and unforgivable. But by this point, I mean, I would love to see where this puts Jasper and Horace, because again, they were built up so much more than just two idiots.
Yeah.
They built that family dynamic, which is not in 101 Dalmatians. So
Right.
again, so we could be going into a multiverse thing where 1960s Cruella de Vil is, Dancing with Mr. Brownstone and all that, and 1970s Cruella de Vil is just, working for the little person.
What would be interesting though is if they do a sequel, it'd probably be set in like the early 80s.
It
Some
could
80s
be.
fashion.
So here's what we do. Pitch this for you. Meryl Streep has never done one of these style of movies.
Not one of these. I mean, she was in the
She was in Into the Woods, but that doesn't count because it's a lot of things. It was distributed by Disney, but it wasn't a Disney thing. You bring her back in. You essentially put her in the role of whoever the new Baroness antagonist is, because she was Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada.
I mean, you could always make her
a little too on the nose, but
you could always make her like Emma Thompson's character's sister.
Yeah, now we're just getting into like The Little Mermaid 2.
Hey, it worked for The Little Mermaid.
That's her direct-to-home video crap, my friend. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to really put my finger on. Like, I can't like use 20,000 words to describe this movie, because it really was. It was a feast for the eyes. It was a feast for the ears. The soundtrack is fantastic. I'm gonna go on Spotify right now and see if there's actually a soundtrack for that. Because why not? And
I mean, Horace's scenes with Wink, especially when Wink was dressed up as a rat.
Oh man, it was fantastic.
Pure gold. Just having a Wink come down behind the like the bouncer in the beginning, just his scream.
Yeah.
This one used comedy perfectly, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just a lot of the stuff too. It really, like, those accents just make it.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Yes. So this entire soundtrack is available on Spotify. Yeah, because I was thinking stuff like Should I Stay or Should I Go is super late 70s. The Clash were late 70s, early 80s. In fact, if I go to the album, I'm probably going to see that would be, that's not a Combat Rock, is it? Combat Rock, yeah, it came out in Combat Rock, which was released in 1982. Down with Rock Casbah. That's the one that really stood out to me. Is like, where are we going time-wise? And that was starting to screw me up a little bit until I just kind of had to let it go. It's not taking place in the mod 60s of London. Right.
It's kind of like they're basically just taking whatever songs they think will fit the mood and putting them in there. Doesn't matter
right. Exactly. But it was cool because, again, we're not fashion people at all. I mean, for Christ's sakes. But I did like her. I did like how she was crashing those fashion shows. The thing with the garbage can and her use of like discarded newspaper and stuff for her outfits.
And when like she was in the dump truck that just dumped out all the dresses. I thought they were just going to leave them there, but no, there was the trail behind. I'm like, that is a really cool effect right there.
Yep. That was really cool. The dress made out of the moth hives.
that was genius.
Yeah.
Because it looked fantastic. I'm like, where is she going with this? And
Well,
then
I kind of had a feeling something was going to happen. It was a really cool thing, and obviously at that point she decides she's giving away the game.
yeah,
That she's going to let Baroness know that Estella is Cruella, but
yeah,
yeah, it's just again visually this movie is stunning.
absolutely.
And I want to sit down. I want to watch this again, like and see. I want to get my kids' input on this. I think I honestly think Scarlett might enjoy this.
I even texted you while I was watching. I was like, some of these camera movements are just pure, when she gets the job at what was it, Liberty,
Yeah,
and then but then it has like the camera up at the top level. Then it just like the camera just starts following, going down the hallways and down the stairs, and like it just like, so where's it? And then finally it gets to Cruella, Estella in in the toilet cleaning it out.
yeah, yeah,
Like, that is a really cool way to just kind of show everything around here. Just
yeah.
the camera
It's
movements were genius.
it's funny too because I mean we don't have a lot to compare it to because two of these four movies that we reviewed this month were super heavy CG. They weren't even shot on location. They were shot in sound stages for the most
Yeah.
part. And even Christopher Robin, there's a lot of CG there, even though they did use more real sets. It's like we progressed over.
Yeah.
But
One thing I will, another kind of slight knock on this one is that when it did use CG, it doesn't always use it well.
right,
Like especially at the climax when she's going down in the parachute
yeah,
into the water. I'm like, okay, that's clearly all CG there.
that's Batman 1989 falling
Yeah,
for
and
you.
like some of the times when they wanted the dogs to do a certain thing, like
Yeah.
it looks like they used a little bit of CG to amp it up there.
Well, I feel like that was, and that's kind of the issue with CG. If it's used sparingly, it's going to be more noticeable as opposed to being flooded with it because it's that plane of reality that you're living in. Versus like, and I noticed this with Jungle Book. There were times when certain characters in Jungle Book certainly did not look like they were on the same plane of existence as Mowgli. And that is a pitfall for that. Now, again, this movie is not a CG heavy movie. I'm sure there was a lot more being used that we will ever know.
Yeah.
But because most movies are now. But with that said, I mean, they're just recreating London in that sense, giving us that feel and really staying true to the music, staying true to the design and the costumes and everything. Really impressed with it. I was really impressed with this movie. I mean, Christopher Robin got me in the feels. And this one was just like, this shook me and woke me up and said, you need to pay attention to this movie. And thank God I did.
Yeah. I think ever so slightly actually like this one a little bit more than Christopher Robin.
I feel they're different kinds of like you're weighting these a little differently. I feel like I could go back and watch this reasonably quickly versus Christopher Robin, which I if I need the good cry. But
yeah, fair enough.
All in all, yeah, solid B on this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would say B. Yeah, I'll go B.
Yeah. I feel like the length. And just some motivations and just the confusingness of kind of a lack of direction that might get cleared up in a sequel. Kind of takes some points off. It doesn't hinder my appreciation for this movie, though. It's not hinder my enjoyment of this movie, and I'm happy I watched it.
Another small role that I really enjoyed was the Baroness's kind of right-hand man type guy.
Oh yeah,
the guy with the huge glasses. He's just he whenever he showed up, he was like just he's a side character and he's great in the side character, but I love seeing him. His reactions were just top notch.
Yeah. So, yeah. All in all, I love this. This was a fun month of conversations. So, I guess what we get to go back to next week, Mike.
James Bond.
We get to deal with the Roger Moore era.
Oh, more. I think
Could you ask for anything more?
I think we're going to start it off with your favorite movie, actually.
That's right. My favorite movie by default. So next week, you can join us for The Man with a Golden Gun. I will give my motivations afterwards.
By the way, don't make a gun out of gold. It is a very soft material. It'll blow up.
Right, exactly. Scaramanga is a fucking idiot. So,
yeah, I mean, if you want, take a gun and paint it gold, but don't make it out of gold.
Right.
Dumb move.
So yeah. So we'll be back next week for that. So hey, folks. Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast from. We got a new episode coming up.
Yes.
In the next days, right? So we can hit our April deadline.
Yes, we will. It'll be done probably, hopefully, either tonight or tomorrow.
Cool. Very excited. So yeah, we have that coming up. We are also do this all the time. So make sure. Sorry, it's late. I'm losing my voice. So, and I got to perform this weekend. So, if you like what you see here, thank you for checking us out. Check out all the videos in our retro video collection. We do this every week. Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment. What are your thoughts on Cruella? Leave a polite comment below. If you like what we do, you can always follow my musings on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. You can also check out our merch store at TeePublic, keyword Geek Salad Podcast. And I think I get them also. Yes. There we are. So, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. Talk to you later.